Hello everyone, this is lab 2 and let's hop right into it. First, hop into these instructions. Zoom in a bit because I'm blind, I can't see. Okay, personal information. The user is to enter their full name, address, and date of birth and phone number. And then I'm supposed to print out each thing the user inputted. Okay, let's go and look at it. Okay, here my package is named Lab 2. Oh, wrong thing. Lab 2, personal information. I got all of my information from the book. I looked through almost up to chapter 6. So we're starting here with the packages, and then we use this import here. You must use import java util.scanner so that the compiler knows where to find the scanner class. Then we scroll down to my public class. It's the same as my package name. Now, this thing right here is just so I know what I'm working on. I referred to page 206 for some examples for this particular project. This is just a print statement with LN so that there is a line printed after. So there's like a little space before the next line of code pops up. So here in this portion here, I'm creating a scanner object. So input is the new object, the new scanner object. System.in is creating a scanner object for user input, as shown here. System print is different from system print ln, because here there will not be a space after it's printed. So this here, system print, is another print statement. I'm asking the user for their full name, and this here is going to hold the user's input so that it can be printed out later on. And the same with these. Let's go through them. I'm asking the user for their address, and they would put in their input, and the computer would hold that input. I'm asking for their date of birth, month, date, year, and then I would hold that input. Asking for their phone number, then it would hold that input. And then down here it got a little complicated. Took me a minute because I have to go back, look at my notes, look at what we learned from last class when my professor showed us how to do something very similar to this. So the plus sign is used to connect strings and variables. Each variable, full name, address, date of birth, phone number, is followed by a \n, so there will be spaces in between. So each line will be printed separately. Okay, let's run the code. Whoops, there's an error. I tried to work on this error. I looked in the book to see what was going on. I looked on a few websites, a few forums to see why this was happening. I could not find an answer, but if you have an answer for me, please help. I'll go right back through my code slowly. Here, 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 and this is the end. Next, donut recipe calculator. The donut recipe calculator is so that you can make donuts. The original recipe accounts for 15 donuts. The ingredients for the original recipe for 15 donuts, I found a few examples on pages 373 through 389 to get this final int thing here. So the donut recipe will stay constant. Final is used to declare constants that cannot be changed once initialized, like I am showing here. The 15 will stay the same. The 15, the 2, the 1, and the other 2 for the different cups you need of the ingredients. Here, I'm just doing the same thing as in the previous project, creating a new scanner object. And then let's move on to what we're asking the user for. Here, we're using a print statement to ask the user to enter the number of donuts they want to make. If you enter a number below 15, the recipe will not work because the original recipe accounts for 15 and up. And we're only looking for whole numbers. This right here will hold the user input. I had to use this int method so that it can take numbers. Let's scroll on down. This section here is the math portion where it will calculate how much sugar you would need, how much butter you would need, how much flour you would need based on the number that the user puts in. Okay. This code here is calculating the required amount by multiplying the number of donuts wanted by the amount per 15 donuts and then dividing by 15 as seen here. And these sugar, butter, and flour match up here. These are the numbers sugar, butter, and flour are referring to. Down here, these are the ingredients the amount of the ingredients you would need. Now let's run the code. Okay, it's asking me, how many donuts do I want? Let's say 20 and press enter. So it tells me I need 2 cups of sugar, 1 cup of butter, 2 cups of flour. Let's move on. Let's stop this code and move on. Next. Now we're at the cuboid volume calculator. This is supposed to calculate the volume in a container using length, width, and height. So we're going to be asking the user for the length, width, and height of the container, and then the code will do the math and give them the volume. So let's start at the top. I just printed this for my own sanity so I can keep up with all the different projects. This is just a print statement with the LN in it so that there will be a line printed after. Scanner is the same thing. You still have to import your scanner. Your scanner imports your scanner class. Okay, let's go down here. So right here, this is just a print statement asking the user for the length. And then when they'll put in their answer, and it has to be a number or it will not work. It will give you an error. That is why this is here. And next int. Next int requires the user to enter an integer or a whole number. I'm asking for the width here. So the user would put in a whole number. And then I'm asking for the height. The user would put in the whole number. Now down here, I'm calculating the volume of the cuboid. This will sort the result of the multiplication of the length, width, and height, which represents the cuboid's volume. Int, as we spoke about earlier in the code, is an integer or a number. So I did the length times the width times the height here. Then down here, we will be using this line of code to display the volume. The plus sign is used to connect two strings. For example, the volume of the cuboid is, as shown down here, is a string with the value sorted in the volume variable, which is here. The volume is an integer variable that holds the calculated volume of the cuboid. This is from the multiplication done in the line above, up here. Now let's run this code. Okay, it's asking me for the length. Let's say 5. Enter. It's asking me for the width. Let's say 7. Enter. It's asking me for the height. What should it be? Let's give it 4. And let's press enter. Now it tells me the volume of the cuboid is 140 cubic units. Let's end this code and move on to the next project. Now this project is basic math operations. I am to do ask the user for 2 integers or numbers. We only learned about how to do whole numbers, so that's how far my abilities can go. I don't know how to enter decimals quite yet. So we're basically doing a similar thing to the previous one. I did this print statement here for my peace of mind so I know which project I'm on. I imported my scanner so that this line here would work. I created my new scanner object. And then let's go down to what we're asking the user. We're asking for an integer, like in the last project, and we're using next int. It requires the user to use an integer or a number. This whole line here holds the user's input. So we're asking the user, what's the first number? And we're going to go down here and ask the user, what's the second number? And these lines are going to hold that user input. Let's scroll down here. I used examples from page 158 through page 164 to get some examples of how to do these calculations. I had a hard time in class on Wednesday figuring out how my professor wanted me to do like a setting up the calculations. So here I just did the plus sign, adding the two whole numbers the user entered. So num1 and num2 are two variables. Num1 and num2 are showing what are the two numbers that the user inputted. So we're going to add them, subtract them, multiply them, and divide them. Then down here in this area of code, this will show the result of each equation. So this addition variable matches this addition variable. So if I change this to like a different thing, it'll yell at me and say, hey, it doesn't match this one. So it has to match. Let's save it real quick and then run the code. Okay, it's asking me for the first number. Let's say 5. Enter. The second number, let's say 10. And it gave me addition, 5 plus 10, 15. 5 subtract 10, -5. 5 multiply 10, 50. 5 divided by 10, 0. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.